crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, Roota.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. Yes, do not stop taking your chaga. Do not stop taking vitamin D. Why do you think viruses go away during the summer? It's all vitamin D. You gotta load up on your vitamin D for this winter. They're gonna release a new virus. So that's the world we live in year zero. Just want to say thank you for all the kind comments yesterday on my emotional post about my city of Oakland. I'm going through the stages of grieving about my city. And yesterday's part, now the stages of grieving are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. I think I was at the number 4 depression stage, and now I'm accepting that everything's going to be changing. Cliff was 100% right. Year zero is you got to be dynamic, not static. You got to be able to move with the understanding that everything's changing. I'm not saying it's going to be worse or better in the future, but obviously right now it looks worse. But over time we can make it better. And that's what I'm striving for. So thank you for all your kind comments. I did yesterday. I got done with my update. I hadn't done an update on the bank bailouts in like 2 weeks. For the private road, I have now posted on the private road the updates as of June 2nd yesterday and on Patreon. So check out either the private road or Patreon. The Fed bailouts. This is not what they talk about in the news. Remember in 2008, Hank Paulson went to Congress and said, hey, the banks need $700 billion. Congress first voted it down. The stock market dropped like 50%, and then they approved a bank bailout. That was then. This is now. Now the banks don't even go to Congress. There are so many bailouts going on. The Fed even puts it on their site in various places. That's what it got ridiculous. So I had to stand back because I couldn't find all the spots. I don't even think I found them all. But here's where we are as far as the bank bailouts. Remember, $700 billion in 2008 that had to be approved by Congress. The Fed has now given the banking system $3.8 trillion. There's the chart. $3.8 trillion. That includes the Fed liquidity line swaps. That's us bailing out foreign banks because those foreign banks are also going down and they can't bail them out because they don't have U.S. dollars. They call them liquidity swaps. Fed blows it off as if it's nothing. Remember, these are U.S. dollars being given to foreign banks. Yes, it goes through their central bank. It doesn't matter. Where does the central bank put their money? With the banks. The interesting thing is, this is just what they tell you about. There's a black set of books behind the scenes. I don't even think they keep books anymore. Fiat money is being printed, and not even printed, obviously, with computers. What's the difference between $1 trillion and $100 billion in today's faith-based game? It's one electronic zero. Can you believe that? 100 billion and a trillion is one electronic zero. That's how insane our monetary system is. There is no limits. They give out infinity money behind the scenes. And I said right here, where is the U.S. Congress bailout? If we had to vote on the bailout of the banks in 2008, $700 billion, it was an outrageous amount. How come we don't have to vote now? Why has the Federal Reserve given the banking system $3.8 trillion? And what do you get? $1,200. So you can go protest and riot. It's ridiculous. That's what's changing. Everything's changing. And I forget sometimes. I like try to hang on to the past. And you can't do that. You gotta go with the future. The future is unlimited money. The future is alternative assets. Silver, gold, and cryptos. And right now, obviously, looking at silver, the price is 100% rigged. But it has been for the past, probably 150 years. Actually, 170 years now. since the Opium Wars. Opium Wars in China. China was basically selling England all their teas and silks and spices. And England, they couldn't get enough. They're like, this is the most wonderful thing ever. So all the silver was flowing out of England into China. What does the English criminals do? And I'll get to them in a second. They set up Hong Kong Shanghai Bank in China to get the Chinese people addicted to opium. And what were they selling opium for in the streets once you get addicted? Silver. Hong Kong Shanghai Bank gets the Chinese addicted to opium, and voila, the silver starts flowing back to England. That's the amount of criminality. Imagine the amount of people dying from being addicted to opium back in the day. Destroyed China. But it was all about silver. And these days, there are more sophisticated reasons. The silver used to create the first atomic bomb. A lot of people don't know. It took one hell of a lot of silver to make the first atomic bomb. A hell of a lot. From my calculations and from the data I've gotten, it was 3 billion ounces of silver were needed to make the calutrons, which are the magnets that separated and enriched the uranium back in the early 1940s. And where did they get the silver? From the U.S. Treasury. Did they tell anybody about it? No. Huge national security issue. They didn't even tell anybody about the town they built in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, to build the Y-12 facility to make the first bus bars and magnets called calutrons to make the first atomic bomb. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to roadtoroota.com, use the search function, look up Manhattan Project. And you'll find, holy shit, the U.S. government had to borrow 3 billion ounces of physical silver to make these gigantic devices. Basically, they're huge magnets. And they didn't tell anybody about it. Can you believe that? Our Treasury lied about all those. Back then, they were backing the silver certificates, supposedly. And they didn't tear that thing down until the mid-1990s when we were running out of silver. And then those 3 billion ounces came back into the market. They've all been used by now. Now where's the big hoard of silver? It's 1 billion ounces at JP Morgan. But what's JP Morgan doing? They're leasing the silver back to other banks so they can suppress the price. Listen to Ted Butler. He knows exactly what's going on in the silver market. So JP Morgan suppresses the price artificially for about a decade, taking up all the physical but keeping the price low. And then as the silver market's about to blow, they're leasing their physical silver to the other criminal bullion banks, including the Treasury, Exchange Stabilization Fund, because Jamie Dimon is a criminal. He's a criminal. And by leasing it, they retain the upside for silver. And they get a fee for leasing it. And the lessee gets to use it to suppress the physical side of this equation. And there is a little bit of a physical side. Not the amount traded, obviously, which is 130 billion ounces every year on the COMEX. That's just the COMEX. LBMA is about 140 billion ounces of silver that trades hands every year, supposedly. And it's all done to rig the price. So that's why you see charts like this. Same thing with gold. Gold is in a little different situation right now. They're requiring all the bullion banks to prove that they have the gold that they to cover their short position. Now the big problem with that, the CFTC should know because I've been writing them for 15 years about it. The big problem with that is nobody knows who owns the physical gold and silver in these warehouses. There's multiple owners. Rehypothecation up the yin-yang. So yes, JP Morgan has all the SLV silver because they're the custodian, but how many times is it leased out? How many times is it rented to other contrived structures for owning physical silver? If you own anything other than physical silver, you are part of the problem. Mining stocks, no. Those will all be nationalized. 100% of the mining stocks will be nationalized by every country who's been screwed over by the man, especially Mexico and South America. They have stopped exporting silver. At least I haven't checked recently, but hey, they're on lockdown like everybody else, right? If everybody has stopped exporting silver, why is the silver price going down? Because it's a click of a mouse. It's all rigged with computer programs written by Alan Greenspan, the world's best computer programmer in the 60s and 70s. Go to Roota if you don't know what I'm talking about. All right, so that's what's going on with silver. I do believe that we're going to have more shortages, and it's spotty right now. It's spotty. If you don't have any physical silver in your own possession, because that's the only stuff that's going to last, everybody in SLV will be screwed. Why? Because JP Morgan has given these banks rented silver, leased out their physical silver. If you're not an authorized participant in SLV, you'll never get physical silver out of that. It's just not part of the design. It is insane to own SLV and mining stocks because they will all be nationalized. Physical silver in your own possession only. Will there be a nationwide nationalization of gold and silver? People ask me that all the time. My answer is, it doesn't make any sense on an individual level. There's not enough people who have it. But in something like SLV, where it's all sitting there in one place, well, it's in many places, mainly the JP Morgan warehouses. Yes, absolutely. Grab all that. Remember, when gold and silver run crazy is when the old fiat system implodes. Or the COMEX shuts down. It could be oil that shuts down the COMEX. It could be gold. It could be silver. It could be all of the above, and most likely will be. So we're in year zero. I think it's going to happen this year. What do I think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin? You think Bitcoin's manipulated? Look at what happened yesterday. It's insane. Of course it's manipulated. As a matter of fact, cryptos are manipulated even more. And there's a bad guy, good guy element. The bad guys are massively into cryptos. They want cryptos as the future of money. But they want to control it all. The guys at Tether, Bitfinex, Binance. It's all a game to them because it's computers and derivatives. These are computer experts. Now, if the good guys win, will cryptos be big? Absolutely. And hopefully they'll take out the bad guys and take all their cryptos because they can now. Trump signed an executive order saying, hey, any of these criminals, we can take all their assets. That's key. But it's not that easy to grab crypto assets, as we all know. So yes, cryptos are going to be rigged. Every market is rigged these days until we implement a new system, such as Veritasium, which is kind of on hold right now. All markets are rigged, 100%, every trade, every day. So, and they rig it up and they rig it down, depending on where they most benefit. And we've seen it time and time again, and there's another example of it. Remember, crypto exchanges are not regulated. Truthfully, that's better. People stay away from them. Why? Why is it better not to have a regulated exchange? Because you got to know if it's fraud. The gold and silver markets, the oil market, the stock market, nobody knows it's a fraud. So they get away with a lot more. In the unregulated crypto markets, everybody knows it's a fraud. So they're not getting away with it as much. People are starting to pull their cryptos off the exchanges. Thank you, Trace Mayer, for that. If you have your cryptos on an exchange like Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, Binance, any other crazy exchange, you are insane. You are insane. Get it off. That's the best thing. You want to get in the fight? Get your assets in your own possession. Take it out of the hands of the bad guys because they use it to manipulate you. Gee, who's manipulating us these days? You want to make a lot of money? Trade with Steve Mnuchin. Whatever Steve Mnuchin wants to happen seems to happen, right? Stock market's up. The economy is absolutely destroyed with no hope of ever coming back to the way it was. Hey, the stock market's up. Why? Because Steve Mnuchin went into his basement and clicked the mouse. You want to get rich? Trade with Steve Mnuchin. Do what he wants. But one day that'll end. It'll all be, oh my God, what happened to my stock? How come 20 other people have the same claim to my Apple stock? That's how ugly it is. But it's even worse. It's in the bond market. It's in the U.S. Treasury market. That's why you have this. Massive bailouts of banks because they don't even know who owns what asset anymore. They've all been rehypothecated at the DTCC. But hey, stock market's up. Why? Because what? Factory orders crashed by the most in American history? Having collapsed by a record 10.4% month-on-month in March, April factory orders were expected to accelerate even lower, and it did. However, the 13% in April was modestly better than the 13.04% drop expected. But it's still the worst in American history. No, there's no coming back from this. The stock market should not be trading like that. And the big problem with the stock market is multiple owners of shares. Over 200 million failure to delivers happen every day. And it's been admitted to. They know it. They know the system's corrupt. They know how to fix it. But if you fix it, you can't rig it. How do you fix it? Decentralized exchanges. Or introduce something like Veritasium. Now, it's long been in Cliff's data. We'll see what happens with Veri. It's a lottery ticket. We'll see what happens. Look at the service sector. These are your bars, restaurants, hotels. U.S. services sector survey signals rebound, but limited scope for V-shaped recovery. Remember Trump and Mnuchin? Oh, yeah, we have a V-shaped recovery. When this is all over, everybody's going to go out and if you build it, they will come type of behavioral economics. Modest rebounds in manufacturing survey help spark yet more optimism that everything's going to be awesome, despite the data missing expectations and remaining deep in contractory, it's an early morning, territory. Today's services data is also expected to show a rebound. Down 39.8%, up from 36.1%. This is crazy. And that's just that's just expectations. Expectations are set by where the stock market is, where the bond market is, what's Trump saying, what's Mnuchin saying. Those are the expectations. That's what they try to pump up with nothing supporting it. Nothing. Anyway, one more thing before I go today. The King of England thing. Yes, here's the funny thing. You guys have heard my disagreements with Dick Allgaier and his guy saying, I don't believe in any of the bullshit that, you are subject of the Queen. We're all subjects of the Queen of England and other people. It's all about the bloodlines and blah, blah, blah. I know it was true. It's what they believed, they being the bad guys, right? They being the bad guys completely bought into this shit. That's where they get their false power, is having you guys believe that. All the conspiracy guys, oh my God, we're subject, our driver's license are going to keep us under their control and all that bullshit. When you're born, you're part of the assets that they control. There's a little hiccup in the theory now. And oh, by the way, I've never believed the theory. Those are things I never signed up for as a sovereign individual. But they did. They, meaning the rulers of the elite. They believe it. So now it's coming out, although it came out like in 2004, this was done, that the Queen of England is a false queen. And all the bloodlines going back to Edward IV are fake. Because he was a bastard. He was not a blood relative of his father and mother. His mother had an affair. And this guy has proven it. So the Queen of England is not the true bloodline queen. And they found the bloodline king. It's some Australian guy. Just the average guy. He's like, I don't want to do that. But it throws their whole reason for believing the bullshit they believed into disarray. And now they have to believe it. If the bloodline was cut 400 years ago, and they believed that's what they had over us, they said, you have to believe this because it's the truth. So now the truth is that no, none of it is done. And all the rules and regulations they made in the last 400 years that I said was bullshit anyway, is proven to be bullshit according to their reasoning and according to their claim, we are the bloodlines, you have to do this and you have to do that, and you are our property. It has been proven that the bloodline was severed 400 years ago, so all the bullshit rules and regulations are all just what I said, bullshit. according to their bloodline theory. So Dick Allgaier, you better go back to your guy and say, hey, what's real and what's not now? Now that it's been proven that the theory, by your rules, bad guys, by your rules, everything is null and void as far as the control of humanity. Because the bloodline was broken a long time ago. I know it sounds weird, but there was always something in me that said, that's bullshit. I am a sovereign human being. I never signed up for your bullshit. You can tell me whatever bloodline you want to. You can tell me whatever document, your birth certificate means you're controlled by these bad guys. All that is gone now, according to their rules, because it's not the real bloodline. There's a different bloodline. So every one of those rules in the last 400 years that they made up in the first place, Admiralty law, all that bullshit is gone now. And we're free. Woohoo! Dick, you should be happy. We're free. I'd like to hear what your guy says. Because according to their data, according to their way the world works, this is the way the bad guys work, Dick. It's all false. Now, according to your rules, the bloodline's rule, it's all null and void for the last 400 years. Meaning every one of those things, those evil things they put into play to control us, is now over. Is that why Buckingham Palace is all boarded up now? The guards are gone? And they've taken the emblem out? I don't know. That's their game. I've always said I'm a sovereign human being. I didn't sign up for it. I don't think anybody on planet Earth signed up for it today. So you can take your rules and shove them where the sun don't shine. Got that? Bad guys, bloodline believers, you can take your rules and shove them where the sun don't shine, because according to your rules, the last 400 years is complete bullshit. And there was no validity to the rule of the bloodlines. Yeah, there's a different bloodline. Go check that one out. Good luck having anybody believe that either. Once the curtain is drawn, you understand that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, and we didn't sign up for any of that thing bullshit before we came down here from the spirit realm to live in these bodies. Kick it all out. It's illegitimate. According to your rules. According to my rules, I was always a free sovereign human being, and I hope everybody feels the same way as me. You didn't sign up for any bloodline rulership. It's complete bullshit. And now it's proven, according to their rules, that it's bullshit. That's my rant. Okay, we're having some changes on the road to Roota. We are, as of today, we will take orders today, but as of today, we are stopping the road to Roota coin. And we're going to start giving out 100 Theta and 100 Theta fuel again, but no coin. Why? Because we ran out of coins, almost. So today would be the last day. But I did not have them made because it's like a month lead time. And I think silver is going to be way too valuable at that point in time. So if you have a silver coin, I might re-release them at some point in time, but it won't be with a Road to Roota subscription. So today would be the last day to get your coin and Theta, and then tomorrow I'm going to start giving away 100 Theta and 100 Theta fuel again. Just the Theta and the Theta fuel for private road memberships. Because I do think Theta is like, I'm giving away 100 lottery tickets on that one. The more research I look into Theta, the more I know the telecoms need a decentralized broadband. They can't do it themselves. You guys all know how slow 5G is right now. It's because the centralization of broadband. All those server farms cannot serve the whole nation in the world we're moving into. Cannot serve the world. So what do? You stick it in every flat screen TV. You stick it on every computer. The hosting of broadband and streaming services. That's what Theta does. And Theta's the number one at it. And everybody and their mother is signing up with Theta to be partners. Meaning Google, which means obviously YouTube. Samsung. Everybody's going to be running Theta nodes on their TV. They're not even going to know it, except they're going to be getting Theta fuel. And when you have a lot of theta fuel, what can you do with theta fuel? You can use it for all kinds of things. At that point in time, when our system breaks down, you could use it even as money. And it's very secure because you've got millions, at that point, millions of Guardian nodes guarding the system. On every flat screen TV, all the smart TVs. So anyway, if you want that silver coin, today would be the last day, at least for a while. I don't see silver staying below $20. So, if I order a whole bunch of coins right now, I couldn't give them away with the subscription. And tomorrow we're going to start the 100 Theta Fuel. So, hey, there's a lot of good things you get when you join the road. Roota, hit subscribe today right here at the top of the website. Oh, don't forget, this is what the website looks like. Oh, where'd the hold on. The sign-up thing isn't there. Follow Road to Root. I'm going to put the sign-up thing. Hit subscribe today for a private road membership. There's a public road. I don't know why it's not showing here. Top left. I'll have to talk to my IT guy. But you can sign up for the public road there. And that'll be up soon. All right. So this is Bix. RoadRoota.com. Talk to you later.